Welcome, Stat 692. This is the online asynchronous course, which means everything you need is in Canvas. So let's go there and let me show you what you need to know. Here is the main homepage. This video is the video I'm making right now, so unless time travel exists, it says that you can't see the video because I'm still making it. Down here, modules is probably where you're going to want to go. And here we have each week, and it has a deadline there. So when you see this, I don't think you guys can access Canvas stuff before the semester starts, which I think is dumb. But I guess apparently as soon as the semester starts, you'll be able to go here to modules, and you'll see here, it'll say week 1 consulting. Up here is going to be the videos, and you can click on this and see the videos. They're just YouTube, which is supposed to mean that they'll work pretty flawlessly. The first one is just about consulting, the idea of what does it mean to be a statistical consultant, applying for jobs. Now, this is way early in the semester by student request. I've had students who said, I'm applying for jobs in May, and I kind of want this lesson to come earlier. Some of you know what you're doing, and this is going to be annoying, so deal with it, I guess. It's only week 2. And then before you meet a client, meeting with clients, what happens when you don't get along with them, ethical decisions, and this is, before data is like experimental design, and then this is like computer science. Starting analysis is like intro stats. And in this class, we only briefly touch advanced statistical topics, like here's the main idea. We don't go into depth. The idea being you've either seen it in other classes or you've chosen which topics you are interested in knowing. Validating that your model is good, make it look nice, and then finish is supposed to be like how do you write a report, do a presentation. It turns out this is a lot on the final report and the final presentation, which if you look at the grades, responding to these each week, and before you ask, no, you can't zoom through the whole class all in the first week. There's a reason for that. We want you all in the discussion board, which if you go here, this is the first assignment. This is just a discussion board, and it has specific questions you're supposed to answer, and it talks about those in the videos. So what area do you have some ability? There's a specific list in the videos, and you're supposed to say, oh, okay, here's the area I think I'm good, and here's the area I'd like to improve on, those kind of questions, and that is in the videos. So these discussion posts only open up a week ahead of time, and then they're due. This first one is due January 23rd because that's a week after school starts. Where's my calendar? Which is January 16th. Okay, so that's what you'll do. You'll watch the videos, you'll come here, and you'll post. Notice it does say like a podcast. So when you reply, you'll do, question 1. What is the first question? What do you feel about the face-to-face class? I like it being online. I mean, you chose to take an online class, so I'm curious whether you like that or whether this is simply what you feel forced into. And then down here for the podcast, which section are you looking forward to? That's where we're going to go insert, media, and record media. Some of you might say I have a different program that I can use to record a video. The problem is if you upload that, people have to click on it, and then they have to watch what you did on their program, and that's too many steps. This will make it so that your video pops up right in your response. Helps make an online class feel just a little less disconnected. So you come here to record, and okay, good, yay, it's doing it again, that thing where you can actually see me while I do this recording. And so then you say, start recording. The question is, which section are you looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the ethical, there's a whole week on ethical decision. That's a really fun one. So, and then when you say finish, like it's here, save media, right in your response here. Now, let's be honest. A lot of people feel really uncomfortable about doing these. That's actually part of the course. It's what we found is an important part of the whole new business world. This is something that's very common. I've had students who hated doing it. I was going to insert, media, upload, record. This way you can actually see me talking while I'm looking at the Canvas page. But students email me afterwards and they're like, remember that thing where you made us do recordings? Turns out that's a big part of my job. After the pandemic, it just became a normal thing. So part of this class is let's force you to practice getting in front of a camera. Like nobody cares if you stumble over your words. Just it's an opportunity to rehearse. It's also an opportunity for you to feel like you actually see and hear the other people that you are in the online program with. So yes, you do have to do the recording. I realize sometimes technical issues happen. Okay, like I'm willing to be understanding, but if technical issues happen, then we need to figure it out so that next week it doesn't happen. I have students who pretend there's technical issues because they're trying to get out of recording a video. Yeah, I get it. I understand, okay? So you will post your replies, one each week. I encourage you to go through and look at what other people's replies are because they're surprisingly interesting. And then, after that, at the end, we have these big projects. Now, where do you get these data sets from? There are some options, and we're going to talk about these in the videos, and there's even little progress dates where it's like, okay, at this point, you should have found a data set, and at this point, you should have cleaned your data set to make sure there's no errors. At this point, you should have a plot. So keep up with that. Some of you have your own data set, like a job that you're working at or some friend, or I've even had people who are just like, I was always interested in looking this up. That's great. That's fantastic. You'll feel more interested in your own data set if you can find that. But only 20% of students do that. 75% of students use the Kaggle data. And we will talk about that in one of the videos. Kaggle's a fantastic website that has huge amounts of data. People load their data up to this website, and the idea is they're saying, hey, can anyone analyze this and go through it? And they even have contests that are worth money. I've never had a student who actually won a contest because you're competing with, tens of thousands of people all over the world, but Kaggle's fun to get data sets from. And that's what 75% of students do. I do have some pre-selected, so if you're really just having a hard time finding something, you can just email me and say, hey, you got something interesting? And I'll be like, sure, here, take this data set. Your goal is not to prove how good you are statistically. At the end of the master's program, it's expected that you're pretty good at statistics. So the goal is to prove that you can communicate what you know and that you can write a report that someone who's not a statistician could understand. And I hammer this every semester, and I swear almost half the students still write a paper that looks like a statistical theory paper. And it's like, but if I wasn't a statistician, this wouldn't interest me. So yeah, answer the question, justify you're doing the right thing, make sure it's understandable, and communicate clearly. That's the main goal of the final project. In fact, let's go look at the rubric, which here for the final report. Okay, so formatting, readability, sure. Introduction, how'd you handle the data, justify that you got the right model. But big points on how do these variables affect whatever the response variable is? And did you explain everything that you have in your paper? Did you answer the question they wanted? Was there a conclusion? Over and over and over saying, did you give the client what it was they wanted? Let's go back to the presentation, which has an even smaller rubric. Okay, make sure that your presentation looks good. Have some pictures and images that make it interesting for the client to watch. Answer their question. And their question is not going to be a statistical question. Their question is going to be like, what's the best house price? Or how do we save the bees? Stuff that's not statistical. Summarize the bottom line. Explain what it is you're really interested in talking about. Stay in the time frame. So these final project and final presentations are a big part of the grade. Let's see. I think if I go assignments, then here's the discussion posting. These are all listed under the same. Hang on. Oh, here we go. It's because I was in student view. Here's the non-student view. Discussion board is 20% of your grade. The final report is 50% of your grade. Final presentation is 30% of your grade. So even though this is what you're doing week after week, you should be progressing on your final report and your presentation, which as you can see, it's due April 30th, which is like a week after the last discussion. And I have students every semester that wait until 2 days before. And you can tell, it shows, okay? It's not great. That's not our goal. That's not what we're trying to do here. You want to be slowly working on this all semester long instead of waiting until the final week to do a final report. If you're wanting a final report that's going to pass what we expect it to be. So there we are, pretty straightforward. Every week you're watching a couple of videos. At most the videos are up to 50 minutes. And no, that's even too, there's some that are close to 50 minutes. And after you watch the videos, you answer some questions, record a little video of yourself, and then working every week just a little bit to get to the final project. How big is the final project? There's not a page limit. Like, you don't have to come in. I've seen some final projects come in that were 8 pages and they were really well done. I've seen some projects come through that were 40 pages, and that's because there were a lot of pictures, right? You start drawing graphs and you can get a graph or two on each page, and sometimes those are real done. I've seen projects come through that were 200 pages and not well done, like it's just all over the place. So it's not about size. Typically, the final project is going to take 20 hours to 40 hours. It's going to depend on how tricky it is, what you're trying to do, and it also depends on how much you really love the project you're working on, and so you want to do all sorts of extra things. So plan for that time. You do not want to do that all the last week. There is no way. Nope. So we're going to spread it out. If you have questions, concerns, or comments, just shoot me an email. Did I put my email address? Feels like I probably should have started with that. People are always saying, what do I call you? Dr. Crawford, Professor? Sure, but Scott is what I typically go by. There's my email address. Here is the grade breakdown. And it is a pass-fail 2-credit class, so the idea is not that this is going to be the most stressful thing you've ever gone through, unless you leave everything to the last day, and then yeah, it's going to be stressful. So, all right, let's get to work.